My name is Josh Fell. Thank you so much for just listening to the presentation today. Today I've decided that my final presentation should be on business entities. And so we will take the time today to discuss 4 different types of business entities and how they affect businesses and how what the advantages and disadvantages are of each one of these. My hopes today is that as we're going through this, that you'll be able to decide which one is right for you, for the company that you plan to start in the future. So the first one we have here is sole proprietorship. So a sole proprietorship is not a legal entity in itself. Basically what happens is when a person starts their own business as a sole proprietor, the business actually refers to themselves. So for example, if I started Josh's auto sales, then the auto sales lot would actually be corresponding to me as my own person. And so if I was to go to court with the company would not be its own entity in court. It would actually be it would be me on the stands as being the one who's liable for everything. We'll be talking about that for the disadvantages in a few minutes as unlimited liability. But it's interesting to note that 2/3 of all of the businesses in the United States are actually sole proprietorships. And so they make up a huge part of the businesses that are in the United States. And so some of the advantages of sole proprietorships is that the proprietor, the owner of the business, owns the entire business, and he or she receives full profit from it. So they don't have to worry about partners or people who are going to be taking funds or taking responsibility of trying to lead the company. They don't have to make decisions with someone else. They make full decisions themselves. Also, to start a sole proprietorship, it's easy to do. It's cheap, and you don't really have to do any paperwork almost at all. And so that makes it a huge advantage just to do that, because most other types of business entities, which we'll see as we continue on, have a lot more paperwork. They're more expensive. And so this makes us the easeability of it, the cheapness of it, and the not have to do too much paperwork. It makes it very attractive to actually go for sole proprietorship. And lastly, the advantage is also taxes. So for a sole proprietorship, the only taxes that need to be paid are personal taxes. So the owner doesn't have to pay taxes on the income taxes for the business itself. It just has to pay taxes on its own, claim the money on their own personal taxes and pay the taxes from there out. And so it's a lot cheaper to do that. As you'll see when we get to corporations, they have to do double taxation, and so you'll see that later on, and that's a huge disadvantage. But so disadvantages for sole proprietorships, they have unlimited liability. This is really the big thing that really turns people away from sole proprietorships, and a few other ones as well. But unlimited liability means that if the business goes under or you owe a lot of debt, then you're going to be personally responsible for the debt that you owe. So all the debt of the business is your debt, and the creditors can come and take your house, they can come and take your personal assets, anything that they need to take in order to get the money that you owe them. So typically, businesses that would be good for a sole proprietorship need to be businesses that have very little debt, because for obvious reasons, if you have lower debt, you can manage that a lot better and have less risk as a proprietor or owner of the business than if you had a business that had a large amount of debt and you have to owe all that, and they can take your personal assets from that. So that wouldn't be a good thing at all. Moving on, next we have partnerships. So partnerships is when we have a 2 or more persons where they form an agreement to carry on business for a profit. So you have co-owners. Each partner is an owner in the business. So some of the advantages of partnerships: you don't have any income taxes, just as like the sole proprietorship. You have personal income tax. So each of the owners can claim the profits on their own personal income tax and pay that. You also have a wider pool of knowledge and skills. If you have two people go into business together, you see this a lot. I think Apple done this, and I can't even remember the other guy's name other than Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs was the guy who had a specific skill set that helped the business greatly. He was the face of the company. But the other guy, which I can't actually think of the name right now, he had great skill set as well as in developing the technology that went into creating the products themselves. And so you had two specific skill sets, and they both complemented each other. And so when you have multiple people in the business as partners, you have different skill sets that you can use to utilize them for the business sake. And also, when you have partners in a company, you also have more funds. So you don't have one person trying to supply the different one person supplying all the money. You have multiple people supplying money for the entire company. Some disadvantages for partnerships: you have unlimited liability. So this is the same with as with sole proprietorships. If the company goes under, has a lot of debt, you're personally reliable for the debt itself for the company. So they can come after your own personal assets as well as your partner's personal assets. And lastly, you also have limited flexibility. So you have to run everything by your partner in order to make a business decision. You have to both agree on everything that you're doing, which can make it very hard to do business. A corporation. So a corporation is a legal entity that's created by individuals who offer money for stock. And so you have multiple people come in together as stockholders to create and own the business. Some advantages to corporations: you have limited liability. So this means that you're not personally reliable for the debt that the company owes. You're only reliable so much in as of the money that you've invested, which is a great advantage over the other two that we've saw so far. I mean, you have to put up your own personal assets as collateral for the other ones. And this one, you can just, all the money you put into it's what you're liable for. Capital for multiple investors. So you have all this money coming in from all the different investors that are coming into the company as shareholders. That's another advantage. Some corporation disadvantages: you have to file articles of incorporation, and you have to pay a fee to do that. And that's different for every state, so the amount would change and vary. You have double taxation, so you're going to have to be paying double, unless, of course, you're an S Corp, which then you can just have single taxation, not to worry about paying it twice. And then lastly, you have the shareholder who has a significant amount of stock has the dominant voice, so they have the ability to make decisions over the rest of the shareholders because they have the most stock in the company. And lastly, we have limited liability company. This is a hybrid of a partnership and a corporation. That's what most people usually use to describe a LLC, because you get both the benefits of a partnership and the benefits of a corporation. Some advantages of LLC is that you can even have one member, or you can have multiple members, and there's no limit on how many members that you can have. So you can have one owner or multiple owners. It doesn't matter. You can do either one. Taxes are paid personally by the owners. This is the same as the partnership. This is the advantage that you get from the partnership side, is that you personally only have to pay the taxes on your own personal income tax. You have limited liability. This is the advantage you get from the corporation side, where you are only liable in so much as the money you put into the company. Your personal assets are not in danger here. And then the only disadvantage that I can really think of for the LLC is the complexity in formation. And so the LLC can be classified as a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation for tax purposes. And so when you're forming your company, it can be a little complex and to figure out how your company is actually classified. Now, I hope this presentation has helped you decide, what business entity that you would really fit your company the best, based on the advantages and disadvantages that's been presented to you today. I believe that the LLC personally would be the best one just because of it's got so many advantages compared to its disadvantages. Not to mention you get the advantages of not only a partnership, but you also get the advantages of corporation. So I think it's personally the best one. Is it's not that hard to do. It's easy to establish. So thank you for listening today, and hope you have a great day.